You got to press on mute.
Yes, I do. Okay, first technical glitch. Well, welcome to From the Couch Sports Talk Radio. Tonight on the Football Roundtable podcast, we are introducing our new format. It's April 10th, and I'm your host, Sean Price, and I'm joined by our self-proclaimed panel of experts, David, Jeffrey, KD, Eric, and Jonathan. Tonight, we will be discussing recent NFL news in our kickoff segment, followed by WrestleMania, the NCAA Final Four, and in the second half, we'll be discussing our mock draft, the first of 2024. So before we begin the show, please like, share, and subscribe. Keep up to date with all the from the Couch Sports Talk Radio. All right, tonight we're going to start our show with our coin toss question of the week. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to ask our panel a question which they have no knowledge of, and they're each going to take turns answering. We're going to post a poll, and if you'd please decide and vote on who is right and who is David. So, for our coin toss question of the week, let's go. Which team in this year's draft will be the first to trade up to grab a player? Let's start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, that would mean that I'd have to understand where the draft order is, since I didn't do the 40 million mock drafts that you guys do. I know it's every 75 seconds. And to be honest with you, I think the first trade is to number 4 at Arizona. I know that exists, and I think Arizona is going to move back because they're going to get a haul for someone wants a quarterback there, right? And I know Arizona has needs, but they also need a lot. So I think that they're going to be the one that trades back. Who trades up in there? Well, Minnesota, Denver, and the Raiders are the 3 teams that I consider as that team. So I'm going to pick one of those 3, and I would say that the most reasonable to me to think would be the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to go with Minnesota's trading up to the 4 spot. I could see Denver doing it too, but Minnesota's the team I got. That's my answer. And that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. All right, David.
No, I agree with Jeff, because I think they have the most capital to do it. I think they have the 2 first-round picks this year. Now, is it going to take 2 first-round picks to get that draft pick? That I'm not sure. But if they want a quarterback bad enough and Arizona wants to play hardball, I think it's going to take their first 2 picks in this draft to get that number 4 pick. So yeah, I'll go with Minnesota based on their draft capital.
Okay, Eric.
So the Raiders came out with a report today that said they're in love with Bo Nix, and so that could be a smokescreen. I'm going to call BS. I'm going to say Oakland trades up into number 4 and ends up being the team to go get a quarterback. And all this media press that they're doing today is a smokescreen for what they really want to do.
Okay. Well, they don't play in Oakland anymore. So, but
the Raiders, sorry, apologies.
KD, who you got? Who are you thinking?
I'm looking at some of the stuff that's going on with the Giants, and I think the Giants will probably trade back. I think their guy will probably be a player like Brock Bowers. I think they can get Brock Bowers in the top 10. So I would imagine them basically trading back. because of the issue with Darren Waller not retiring or is on the fence. So if he retires, that'll be my particular pick. But if he doesn't retire, I agree with Jeff and Dave about Arizona.
And who's going to move up for that pick?
I'm gonna go Denver though.
Okay. All right. So there you go. You got Jeff and Dave, the brothers.
I'm gonna go Denver
going for
instead of Minnesota.
Eric is for the Raiders, and KD is saying Denver is going to trade up. All right. So fans, think about it. Think about the reasons. Take our poll and decide who was the right person in this, and we'll find out in a couple of weeks. All right, so now to open up our first segment here, we're going to talk about the latest news and transactions of the week. This is a breaking story which happened less than an hour ago. Rashee Rice, an arrest warrant was issued for him, and he now is looking at 8 counts against him. He has 6 counts of collusion involving bodily injury. He has 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injury and 1 count of aggravated assault. He has obtained a lawyer, and from the crash, he is fully cooperating with authorities, and also 10 grams of marijuana was found in the car he was driving, which he admitted to driving. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers are set to become the first 2 teams to play in São Paulo, Brazil. That game will be played Friday night of opening weekend. So you'll have a Thursday night game, a Friday night game, then Sundays and Monday games. That's going to be an action-packed weekend. In all the news, former Texas Longhorn football player and projected 2024 NFL pick Tavondre Sweat was arrested and charged with drunken driving on Sunday. This happened after someone rear-ended him, and the police came, and he was then arrested. Transactions in the league. Atlanta Falcons have signed quarterback Antonio Hamilton, cornerback Kevin King, and defensive lineman James Smith-Williams. The Baltimore Ravens signed linebacker Kyle Van Noy to a 2-year contract worth up to $9 million and signed wide receiver. Yeah, there you go, Deontay Hardy. The Buffalo Bills signed offensive tackle La'el Collins. Carolina Panthers signed defensive tackle Derek Brown to a 4-year deal worth $96 million with over $63 million guaranteed. The Denver Broncos signed center Sam Mustipher. And Green Bay today signed cornerback Gebon Green. The Houston Texans cut wide receiver Alec Bachman. They cut defensive end Majai Sanders and safety Josh Thompson. The Jacksonville Jaguars, big news of the day, linebacker Josh Allen has a new 5-year, $150 million contract, which includes $88 million in guarantees. The Jaguars had placed the tag on him, but they decided to get a deal done. The Kansas City Chiefs signed defensive end Mike Dana to a 3-year, $24 million deal worth with $13 million guaranteed. They also signed quarterback Carson Wentz to a 1-year deal with $3.3 million. And they also signed offensive lineman Mike Caliendo and safety Nazi Johnson. If I said that wrong, I apologize. Some of these names are crazy. Las Vegas Raiders have cut guard DJ Fluker. The Miami Dolphins have signed defensive tackle Teair Tart. The New England Patriots signed safety Kyle Duggar to a 4-year, $58 million extension, potentially worth up to $66 million, with $13.2 million guaranteed. New Orleans Saints signed linebacker Kalaki Hudson to a 1-year deal. The Giants signed running back Dante Miller and re-signed linebacker safety Isaiah Simmons pending physicals. They also just plainly signed wide receiver Miles Boykin. Philadelphia Eagles signed offensive tackle Jordan Mailata to a 3-year, $66 million extension, and also signed cornerback Avonte Maddox to a 1-year deal. The Steelers have cut running back Alfonso Graham. They did sign tight end Nicole Pruitt to a 1-year deal and just signed kicker Matthew Wright. San Francisco signed running back Patrick Taylor Jr. and tight end Eric Saubert. Seattle Seahawks signed tight end Brady Russell, offensive tackle Raquan O'Neal, guard McClendon Curtis, defensive end Miles Adams, linebacker Joshua, oh no, I cannot pronounce that, linebacker John Radigan, cornerback Michael Jackson, offensive lineman Max Percher, and they cut defensive end Latrell Bumpus. And last but not least, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed linebacker Randy Gregory to a one-year deal with a base of $3 million, potentially worth up to $5 million. So stay tuned to Sports Talk Radio from the couch for the latest news. All right, so let's begin our second quarter here. We're going to have David, Eric, and KD discuss WrestleMania 40. Last week was a 2-day WrestleMania 40, which viewership increased 29% from last year. That is unheard of. Can you guys go through some of the marquee matchups for us and what you thought was this huge uptick in ratings that they got?
I guess I'll start. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I believe the uptick in the ratings had to do with the Bloodline storyline and just seeing where that went. That storyline's been 3 years in the making, and I think the payoff was really what prompted the ratings. Also, bringing The Rock back was a huge spike in the ratings. I mean, he's a multimedia superstar. That doesn't hurt the situation. I will say, from the standpoint of the lady wrestlers, I enjoyed their matches. It was unfortunate that Becky Lynch in the opening match of WrestleMania Night 1, I believe she was sick. She had strep throat. She had a fever, so she couldn't deliver her best performance. But I will also say about the women, the absence of Charlotte Flair and the lack of other women involved in that night. I mean, I like Damage Control and so on and so forth, but the lack of a Charlotte Flair in WrestleMania was really telling to me. It just kind of brought down the level of competition for the women. I think I didn't really see all the excitement that we could have from the ladies wrestling standpoint. But no, I absolutely loved that show. It was probably one of the best WrestleManias in probably like 15, 20 years.
I was spoiled growing up. I got to see the very first WrestleMania from Madison Square Garden, which was absolutely amazing. So it's incredible to me how this has evolved. Yes, because I'm old. So Eric, tell us about some of your favorite parts of WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed the villains winning on night 1, and going into night 2, I told my boys and I that were watching it that I was sure that they weren't going to have Seth and Cody both win. So Seth is kind of the hero of the story. Because he comes out there and he took a beating from Drew McIntyre, and I love the bit of that whole situation. We'll get to that. But Seth comes in, and then at the end, he's back in his Shield uniform. And ideally, he comes out there and he takes a beating, but he takes a beating to help Cody finally finish the story. And so he's kind of the hero of the story. He kind of is the one that continually week by week keeps the story going. He's a vital part of that show, and I really enjoyed that bit of WrestleMania. I really enjoyed the fact that we finally got Mr. Money in the Bank to cash in his contract. I like the story of the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day are going to be the big baddies now, I believe, and they do it very well. So overall, it was a fun night. It's fun 2 nights. Fun having the villains win on the first night to come back and have the hero win at the end.
Katie, your thoughts? Or is he frozen?
He froze.
Okay,
So let me bring it back a little bit. I think the only upsetting thing to me was in night 2 for the Cody Rhodes main event. I was really kind of disappointed in the fact that the bloodline itself really wasn't represented the way that I thought they would be. I mean, you had your typical Jimmy Uso, you had Solo Sikoa, and you had The Rock. Those guys all came in and did their thing. I was really disappointed that they didn't have more of the bloodline family involved in that last match, because that, to culminate the end of that bloodline story, to end it with the same group and without adding a new one, because their nephew, I think, what is it, Jimmy Fatu, he signed with WWE. So I was just kind of disappointed with the payoff of just the lack of other bloodline members. And The Undertaker showing up against The Rock really didn't make a lot of sense to me. I think it was a fill-in for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think Austin was supposed to be there, but I guess contractually they couldn't make it work. So The Undertaker injected into that part, while The Undertaker's The Undertaker, just didn't make a lot of sense. And now with KD, now that he's back, KD, give me your thoughts.
So I'm not disappointed by anything that happened in the entertainment show that we call WrestleMania. It entertained me, so I was cool with everything that happened. When it comes down to the night one was kind of, hey, look, we're not going to give him too much, because again, you got to understand, when you start to open up can of worms, you can kind of space things out too far, and you don't keep stuff a little bit more close, tight knit, to where the fans can follow along, and everything's kind of like, okay, look, all right, how are they going to kind of do this and do that, and so forth and so on. And you don't want to be predictable either, as well, because if you say, hey, Jimmy Fatu signed on Wednesday, and the main event is on Saturday, automatically everybody was thinking, hey, it's going to be this big uproar and all these people that's going to come down and just beat Cody all to oblivion. But that didn't happen. So I kind of liked how they tailored it off and made it one of those, hey, the shades of the past of both The Rock and Cody when it comes down to it. And then also Seth Rollins as well, because if you guys paid attention, he got hit in the back with the steel chair, just like Roman Reigns got double crossed by the Shield at some point in their careers. So for me, it was great how they put that all together. And then for me, the only match I had an issue with was the Jimmy and Jey Uso match. Every other match I thoroughly enjoyed. I normally don't watch the women wrestling as much, because it's just so much of a drop off when it comes down to the talent. They out there, they do what they do. But I was thoroughly impressed with all the stuff that the women did, as well as some of the main guys and some of the guys that are not main attractions, but they came out and did what they needed to do. Particularly the six man tag match. That was really, really phenomenal. I didn't even know that they basically took the titles and basically took them away from being unified, and now they've hung them up two sets of titles individually, and I didn't know they were doing that. So that was a complete shocker for me, and it added to the match itself, because it's like, hey, okay, which one do you want to do? Because hey, if you're a Raw superstar and then you grab the SmackDown titles, how would you have defended that, and so forth and so on. So that was that one thing like that. That makes me want to come back and keep watching WrestleMania. And if we can, we need to give whoever decided to put WrestleMania for 2 days all the love and the kudos that they can get as much as we can from the Couch Sports, because again, that's a genius idea, because now it's like, hey, look, I don't have to kind of give anybody the cold shoulder. I can line up stories for everybody throughout the year, and everybody can come full culmination at the end of our wrestling year as we know it through WrestleMania, whether it be on a Saturday or a Sunday. So,
yeah, that was amazing. I can't believe they did 2 days. I didn't watch it, but just listening to you guys talk about it, I was like, oh my God, probably something maybe I should have seen.
I got two last points, Sean, and then we can wrap this up, or I want to give a shout out to Sami Zayn. I was so happy that he beat Gunther. I think that was the payoff for his storyline with the bloodline. And I think that went complete because he didn't beat Roman Reigns for the world title. And he was such an integral part and really made the bloodline storyline, push that much further. And I thought that was amazing that they gave him that Intercontinental Championship. And also oh man, stupid name. What's his name? The guy who won the title. R-Truth. R-Truth, man. That was his absolute first ever WrestleMania victory. Him actually grabbing that title off the top. That was awesome. I think he's probably one of the most entertaining WWE performers. And for him to have the opportunity to pull that title down and win, that was just awesome. It was a great show. I have nothing more, but that was great.
All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it. KD, you're going to stick around and talk NCAA Final Four. We're going to be bringing Jeff on in a second. Real quick, Mike Paoli, also known as Hot Pockets, had to text me at ungodly early in the morning because he can't remember. He's on the East Coast and I'm on the West. That the last time there was an eclipse, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. And I told him there was actually one in between that one and this one. So, Paoli, love you, but you're wrong. Okay, so for our third quarter here, we're going to talk the NCAA Final Four, men's and women's brackets. So let's go ahead and Jeffrey, you want to lead us into it, please?
Yeah, so we'll move. I mean, obviously, the most watched, talked about in basketball in quite a long time was the women's tournament, right? So obviously, it's funny because I have a lot of friends on social media, right? And it's I had a jab everyone, and I didn't give a damn. Like I was like a equal opportunity jabber, right? And what I mean by that is when LSU and Iowa were playing, I had friends of multiple colors, right? And some would be like, I don't understand if you're not from Louisiana, why you're pulling for Louisiana unless you don't like, white people. Or I don't understand if you live in this place, but you're pulling for Iowa, it's because you don't like black people. It's like, bottom line is, and I'll tell you this, driven or not driven, I don't really care what the reason is. The media used that situation between Caitlin Clark, Reese, and all that stuff to really drum up drama, which I'll tell you what, regardless of what they drummed up ratings, because I'm telling you right now, they watched it. That LSU game was watched, and it was watched when South Carolina played. But the games were great. I really was excited. I got to be honest, watching all the Final Four for the women's Final Four, man, it was exciting. I mean, to me, maybe it's because I'm not a Purdue UConn fan too much, but to watch the women play ball, and they were all of them. I mean, I just think that regardless of opinion-wise, if Caitlin Clark is the greatest of all time or not, I get it. She's the leading Division I scorer. There's a lot of truths and facts. I don't care if she's the best ever. Her and Reese and our Cardoza, these women, and I forget her name. What's her name? Is it Juju? What's the girl's name from USC?
Juju Watkins.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, man, she's a freshman. She's got me intrigued for the next 3 years if she so decides to stay in school. But they brought so much attention, skill, enjoyment, competitiveness to the women's game. I don't care if none of these players ever do anything real in real life. They all deserve a lot of credit for bringing the eyes to the court. And I'll tell you that championship game. I'll tell you, I'm not going to talk no more about, and I'll talk championship game in a second. But Katie, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Final Four from a women's perspective, because I know I just ranted for a while, but it was exciting.
Yeah. Look, I knew.
Okay, sounds like Katie is kind of frozen up for a moment. So just
In
real
the fact
quick,
that one of the
Maybe.
okay,
Nope.
we're having some technical difficulties, but the women's championship game was watched by more people than the men's championship game. That's the first time that's ever happened.
Mhm.
And that's amazing. All right. I can't see. KD, are you? You look like you're good now. Go for it, KD.
All right. So as I was trying to.
Hey, I think we should just take screenshots of KD freezing because it's fun. All right.
So Carolina, for me, is basically saying, hey, they're basically moving the needle. Oh, Lord. This is bad.
Okay. Eric.
All right. Go ahead, Eric.
So it was exciting, the women's basketball, how disciplined and how well coached they are. And as a coach of not just football but of basketball, and I have done girls basketball before, it's really encouraging to have that piece of, hey, we had 18.9 million views and we outdid the men's tournament. And so ideally, moving forward, that's going to be an inspiration as women's sports want to grow. This can be one of those moments in history that girls can look at and say, look at Caitlin Clark. She became a huge figure. She became a figure that even got offered into a men's league like the Big Three, which is exciting. It's not just a women's basketball, what she's stuck doing. She can do more now. And she's got all these advertisements. It's very exciting. It's very encouraging for all those young girls everywhere. As far as the men's tournament, the most exciting thing for me was when Drew Brees and Bill Murray were having the flex off in the final game. I thought that was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed. Otherwise, Purdue didn't really have a chance. I'm not really a big Purdue guy, but it was exciting to see them finally go and get to the finals. Zach Edey is a monster. He's huge. While his size is his greatest thing, he proved me wrong, and I've been wrong on certain things. He has more skill than I give him credit for, and I give him kudos to that. So good on Purdue for finally making it. UConn, it's historic how good they are, and it was fun to watch.
All right, so let's try KD one more time. But first, who won the bracket challenge?
Good job, Sean.
Me.
Send him the T-shirt.
You did.
You guys haven't won anything since I've entered into your lives.
So
I win every day, Sean. I win every day. What you got, KD?
All I really wanted to say is, like, look, man, we got to give Dawn Staley her flowers. She was able to do what she's able to do as a player, as a coach, and as an overall ambassador to the game. If you guys don't know, just read up on some of the stories she's had with some of these girls that's on her team. And it's not about just winning championships, right? It's about the interpersonal relationships that she's building with each and every young lady that comes in her program. The one thing that I want to highlight that's significant is Cardoza was basically came here without her parents, right? And Dawn Staley basically took her underneath her wing, right? And took her underneath her wing and said, hey, you know what? I want you to come here and play. I'm going to make sure everything's good for you, yada, yada, yada. And she left her parents back in Brazil, right? If you guys recall the South Carolina-Tennessee game, and she made that bank three to win the game, her parents was in the crowd. It was a surprise by Coach Staley to make sure her parents was there. That was the first time her parents had seen her actually play the game of basketball. So those type of moments that make you say, hey, look, I'm going to go give it up for my coach no matter what, even if I don't feel like it, because guess what? This particular person has helped changing my life through this game. So.
Excellent. And Jeff, last thoughts. What do you got?
Hey, so Staley's amazing. I love what she's doing. But listen, Katie, let's not act as though her bringing Cardoza to stay under her wing was some like thoughtful gesture for being just a nice person. The chick's 6'7", bro. She's a beast, man. Listen, hey,
she wouldn't do it for a 5'1" chick. I understand.
And I'm kidding. She is an icon. She is an inspiration. I have listened to her talk to her folks. One thing I do want to put out, because there's been a lot. I mean, of course, where the sport has risen, it's because of the hate between. It's really frustrating to me because of where we're at as a society. It sucks. I can't stand it. I hate being in it. But the reality is I've watched so many things about Caitlin Clark sucking and she's not good at this or she's not better at that or all these conversations. But here's the reality, right? She ended the game with 30 points. And it's funny because people say, well, she was this for this when this person guarded. I got it. She finished with 30 points. But when you look at the stat line, the one stat that'll stand out, and I guarantee you, and I'm not a basketball guru, but I can almost guarantee you that if I was to look up stat lines that have a 51-29 rebound advantage, I can almost guarantee you 80 to 90% of the time that team that has that much of an advantage on a rebound wins the game. That's a significant stat in basketball that actually is almost equal to that 4+ turnovers to none in football, right? It's a significant thing. Bottom line is they balled out. South Carolina was well deserving. It was a great game. I loved watching it, and good on the women's basketball. Purdue, I'm glad they made it to UConn. UConn is a stacked squad. They'll be back next year again. I don't think they'll win the finals, but I think they'll be good. But anyway, that's all we have here. Sean, back to you, guy.
All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you all, gentlemen. And now we're going to enter our fourth quarter, which is our first mock draft of 2024. We have a lot to get through on this. We're going to bring everyone back in, and we are going to have KD and everyone talk about the picks they made. And please remember, our fans, go to pfn.com and do your own mock draft. Download it or get a screenshot, send it off. And for the person who has the most correct draft will win an FTC Sports Talk Radio t-shirt. All right, so let's bring everyone back in. Let's get going with the draft, and let's see how my Jets do. That's very small. So who's going to start us off? KD, David?
Whoever can read it.
Yeah, you're going to see Dave going like this into the screen. What the hell is that? No, so we did our mock on Sunday, and no surprise. Excuse me, no surprise. But Caleb Williams went first. Go figure. Not a real tough one, not a real hard one to come up with. Our second pick went way off the rails, and this is when it screwed everything up. So, Eric, I'm going to let you describe your pick number 2 at Washington.
So I believe Washington goes for Drake May, and the reason I think they go for Drake May is I think he's the most pro-ready passer in the draft. And so ideally, I went off the rails and didn't go Jaden Daniels because I think Jaden Daniels, while he has a higher ceiling, I think there's higher risk. And I think Washington's had a lot of risk, and I don't think they're in a position to take a bunch of risk. So I felt Drake May was the safest quarterback, the safest rookie, which I'm sure will cause disagreement within the group. But he gives them stability, and he gives them a known product where I feel like his floor is higher. So I went with Washington making the safer pick and taking Drake May.
Okay, let's go to pick number 3. And I think KD, if I'm not mistaken, was this your call here?
Nope. But I did like it. I like the pick because, again, JJ McCarthy is kind of one of those, hey, look, I'm going to give you what I need to give you. I'm going to try and be safe for the most of the game. And if you need to call upon me to do some stuff that's unorthodox to get us over the hump, I believe he's that type of quarterback to make the safe throws. And he's basically saying, look, I can be in the system and be fine with those safe throws and kind of be a compliment to what the defense is going to put us in. So I love that particular pick.
Dave, real quick, because I really legitimately can't see, but here's what I'm going to ask you, because I didn't do any of these picks. So I'm going to make this statement, then I'm actually going to bone out, and you guys are going to have continue. I'm going to listen. But is the pick at 3 for New England JJ McCarthy?
Yes, it is.
Hey, let me say this to you all right now. If JJ McCarthy gets picked in the first 4 rounds, that's ridiculous, number one. But he's going to, and I get it. But look, that I've watched this show over and over again for years. Not our show, but as they hype up some random ass quarterback, excuse my language, that had a mediocre career and put him in a top 4 position. I know Richardson was one of those guys, but he was athletic. JJ McCarthy didn't throw the interceptions. But here's the issue that I have with this situation. JJ McCarthy, I think, would be a great quarterback if he was drafted in the 4th round by the, I don't know, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs or a team that has a starter that's not going anywhere for a while that he could sit behind. There's no way in hell. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I will tell you JJ McCarthy in New England is Mac Jones, because there is no talent there. And it's just dumb to put. I mean, he doesn't have the skill. And I like Drake May. I disagree with the quarterback ready. The dude missed out routes at his pro day with no defenders, where Jalen Daniels has probably the best and most electric arm and accurate, by the way, even more so than Caleb Williams. So I don't agree with any of y'all picks. I think that it's going to go Caleb Williams, though. I think Daniels should be it. I think that Drake May should go third and Caleb Williams should go second. But at the end of the day, that JJ McCarthy crap is bothering me on every sports outlet that exists. Anyway, I'm done talking. You guys have a great draft, mock draft. I'm excited for you. And I just think whoever picked JJ McCarthy needs to never come on this show again. Just kidding, Eric Witt. I know who did it. You ain't got to come in and talk. I know it was you.
It was Dave's pick.
Well, Dave's an
It
idiot.
wasn't my pick.
I did not.
I did not put JJ McCarthy at number 3.
Which
All
one
right,
was
man.
JJ
Hey,
McCarthy?
it's all good. It's there. Keep it rolling. I'm messing with you guys, but I'm really interested in the rest. Keep it going, guys.
So anyway, before we go to pick number 4, I just want to tell you all, again, like we said, go on to PFN, download your mock draft, do your mock draft, download it, and send it to the email address on the screen, ftcsports1@gmail.com. And the most accurate draft will get you a From the Couch Sports Talk Radio t-shirt. So write down the email address, do your mock draft, send it in. So let's see. We're going to number 4. And again, another disclaimer, we did not do any trades in this draft. So again, this draft is really not accurate, but for the sake of the teams that are picking and their needs, at number 4, no real surprise here. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes off the board. So if Arizona doesn't trade, we all believe that this will be the pick. So now, KD, you can do pick 5 because, again, this was your pick. And I'll tell you, I kind of agreed with you. You talked me into it, and it made the most sense to me. So give it to me, KD.
All right. So a lot of people are looking at, hey, the Chargers, and they're saying, hey, okay, look, all right, the Chargers have Justin Herbert. They want to give him a nice Lamborghini or Ferrari to throw to out there. But then I said, hold on, wait a minute, pump your brakes. Who is the OC there? The OC, and they picked a running back from one of this guy's most successful season. It's Greg Roman is the OC, and they picked up Gus Edwards in free agency from the Baltimore Ravens. So it only makes sense to go ahead and solidify one of the particular needs in that particular offense, which is the tight end position. And I'll tell you right now, it's a significant drop-off from the tight end position. And I think this guy, even to get you some of the receiver type of numbers as a tight end in that particular offense, and that would be Brock Bowers out of University of Georgia. So for me, it makes the most sense unless the Chargers say, hey, look, we want to trade back and we want to basically we still believe we can get him in the top 10, and we just want to get a little bit more picks. But that would be hard to do because, again, I don't know exactly what their cap room is. However, I know for a fact they don't want to stay strapped for cash in years to come when it comes down to trying to build the team for Harbaugh.
Excellent. On pick number 6, this was a little bit of a back and forth, I think, among the group. I think that I was trying to, I was on a stump for a quarterback here for the Giants because even though they're paying Daniel Jones, I really don't believe that Daniel Jones is the answer in New York. But we kind of settled on the fact that if Daniel Jones is that guy, they need playmakers around him. So I think we had a consensus opinion that the next best offensive weapon in this draft, based on the team needs of the New York Giants, was LSU wide receiver Malik Neighbors going to the New York Giants at number 6. I don't think they can really make a bad choice if that's where they go. It's not a bad pick at all. Eric, your opinion real quick, is that a yay or a nay? Or
I like that because I think the Giants have to sell tickets, and we got to remember that's an important part of drafting a player in the first round. Ideally, linemen are the safest pick, but you can get a Malik Neighbors, a guy who you can market, you can sell. And in New York, in a big market, he'll put butts in the seats, and that's really what it's all about. So I like the pick.
Sure. All righty. KD, Eric, myself, we all agreed on the next pick. I think this guy's been mocked to the Titans in every mock draft known to man, I believe. But Joe Alt makes the most sense in this position, especially when you're trying to block for a rookie or a second-year quarterback. You want him to be protected. This makes the most sense for the Titans and what they need. So I don't think there's any argument or discussion about this pick. We can all agree on that. So now we go to pick number 9. KD, tell us about your pick for Atlanta.
For me, man, they're getting Grady Jarrett back. They got some young guys that's coming through as well. I think that was a strong point for their defense, or the team overall was their defense with the Falcons. And I think this makes the most sense to get a young edge rusher to pair with Arnold Ebiketie. I just think it makes the most sense. I did like Latu, but I just thought his medicals was probably going to be the thing that kind of keep him out of this top 5 / top 10 pick when it comes down to it. So for me, I think he will be a good, safe addition for the defense, and they'll probably use him a lot in their particular division. So,
alrighty, and then at pick 9. We have the Chicago Bears taking Latu, the edge rusher from, what is it, USC, I think, or so Eric, talk to me real quick about that. I know that before mock drafts were drafting a wide receiver here, but with what Chicago's done in free agency, I think that need kind of went to the wayside. Just give me your thoughts real quick on this one.
So it's a pick that Chicago needs to improve on their defense as well as their offense. They get a potential guy who can give you 10 sacks in his first year and could be a Rookie of the Year candidate if he's healthy, and he can give them a healthy year. So he's got high upside. They need kind of a marquee defensive player. Chicago's built on defense. It's a tough city. So they go defense. They go best pass rusher they can, and they try to bear down here.
Alrighty, and then at pick number 10, we got Roman Duze heading to the Jets. I believe this makes the most sense. Also, they got Garrett Wilson, but they need that other guy coming along the side. They need that guy to be the guy. Let me see this here. I just got to do this real quick. No, that's not it. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't want to be big. So there we go. Beautiful. So, Roman Duze here to the Jets. Let me get this back up into the stage here. All right. So, it just makes sense. You got Garrett Wilson, young receiver. They have Alan Lazard. And they just got to upgrade their wide receivers going into the future. They got to plan for a future without Aaron Rodgers, and the best way to do that is have 2 good young receivers on your team. So, Roman Duze is the pick. Now at pick number 11, this is where this draft screwed up, and Eric made this guy drop all the way to pick number 11. But again, without trades, we went by needs as opposed to trades. And this is where he has the Minnesota Vikings taking Jaden Daniels at pick number 11. Eric, tell me your reasoning why Jaden Daniels fell to 11.
So Ben Roethlisberger was the best quarterback of his class, and he fell to 11. And everybody thought, oh, man, this guy's a for sure top 10 pick. He's big, he's mobile, he can throw. And he fell to 11, and he was the best quarterback of his class. Now, I think Jaden Daniels, I think there is going to be some intrepidity and some fear with him, ideally, because he's only been playing for a couple of years. So we disagree on the panel. But I don't think the body of work is large enough, though I think his ceiling's the highest. And so, therefore, I think Minnesota's the best fit. I think he falls to 11 if there aren't any trades. And we're doing this basis on no trades. So in this mock draft, I have him going to 11, and I have him doing well in Minnesota. But I have Minnesota taking Daniels there.
All righty, and now we'll go to pick number 12. This one, KD, have at it.
Number 13, I had them taking a kid that they were familiar with out in the West Coast type of environment, Talisi Fuaga from Oregon State, who's going to be a good staple piece for the offensive line, regardless of where he's going. he loves to bring the nastiness on the offensive line in the trenches, and he's a student of the game. So he's kind of everything that you're looking for in the tackle, and he can play tackle or guard. So for me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, well, that was for pick number 13. Pick number 12 was Denver, and that was Cooper DeJean. So I'm just saying. But anyway, be that as it may, you're right about the Raiders and getting Fagala, the offensive tackle. Cooper DeJean did go to Denver at number 12. I think that's a great fit in Denver. So now let's go to 14, and we are going to go to the New Orleans Saints. Eric, we have Tony Fatua. Is that his name? I can't see it.
So here's a sneaky thing, and we disagreed during the mock draft. I think quarterback's going to become an issue for the Saints here eventually. My panel disagreed with me, so we went with based on needs. So they went with an offensive lineman. Look, the guy can pass block. He's a nasty run blocker. He's going to be a day one starter. He's a plug and play. He's a safe pick, and he's a guy you can probably get a fifth year option for. And tackles are expensive nowadays after their first year or their rookie contracts are over. So good pick for the Saints. I think he'll end up being a Pro Bowl type player for them. And they go with the safe pick here.
We also now go to the Indianapolis Colts. We got the Colts taking a cornerback. They do need a lot of secondary help. And Terrion Arnold, best cornerback on the board after DeJean, goes to the Indianapolis Colts. I love this pick. I think it's a huge need for them. We had gone back and forth about maybe a wide receiver, but with the young guys they have, along with re-signing Michael Pittman in the offseason, I think it just made sense to go cornerback here because they do have a big need in the secondary. Terrion Arnold was the pick at number 16 or 15. Now number 16. Guy that got there a little earlier than Eric wanted him to because I know he was salivating for his Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Seattle Seahawks, they took Jackson Powers Johnson. KD, give us a little info on Mr. Powers Johnson. Good talk, KD. No, but anyway, seriously. No, that was a great pick. Let's go to number 17. 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though they just signed their edge rusher and Jared Verter and Josh Allen, we have them taking the other edge to help on that, and that's Jared Verse. KD, give me your opinion on Mr. Verse.
Yeah, for Jacksonville, this would be huge pairing him with Josh Allen now. They got their guy locked up for the near future. So it's going to be probably the best young tandem. The only tandem I can see can,
Yeah, no.
I mean, William Anderson in the Tuesday. So those.
Yeah, absolutely, Katie. I think Jared Verse and Josh Allen along that defensive line are going to be huge. Eric, tell me about.
Guy has a complimentary 8.5.
Give me your thoughts on pick number 18, Eric. J.C. Latham going to the Cincinnati Bengals. Definitely a huge need for Cincy.
So we don't need to talk very long about this. Joe Burrow continues to get hurt. The offensive line needs to get better. They need to protect him if they want any shot at winning in the North and winning in the AFC.
Absolutely. Now we go to pick number 19. Another defensive tackle going to the LA Rams. Of course, this is a no-brainer. They have to replace Aaron Darnold. Guy rode off into the sunset, retired. We picked him to Byron Murphy II. Great pickup. I can't complain with anybody. I don't think nobody was in disagreement with that pick. Pick number 20. Tell us about it quickly, Eric. The Steelers.
So Mims has been a hot prospect. They've done a lot of visits with him. Pittsburgh's been kind of obvious with who they've drafted the last 3 years. The candidate they spend the most time with is typically who they pick, going back to Najee. They move Roger Jones back to left tackle. They get Mims at right tackle. The plan is to run the ball, and they plan on running the ball this year with those two guys.
Yep, absolutely. Katie, give me your thoughts on Deshaun Newton going to the Miami Dolphins.
I know for a fact they would probably want to have Byron Murphy II, but they would basically say, look, we will take the next guy in line, the Zerjon Newton. It's going to be a guy that can have probably a one gap. He can two gap if he needs to, but primarily they need to get some help along that defensive line, having everybody injured, and they were limped into the playoff defensively.
Right. And number 22, another cornerback going off the board, Quinion Mitchell. Again, another need for Philadelphia. Sure up that defense. They had a lot of problems the back half of the season. I think that makes a lot of sense for them. If they get the wide receiver room straight and their offense back on track, I believe the sky's the limit in the NFC East for them. So that was a no-brainer pick. Now we're going to pick number 23, Minnesota, with their second first-round pick. Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback. Eric, give me your quick analysis real quick.
If the Vikings don't trade up and this draft falls to them, they have the biggest win getting Daniels and then getting Kool-Aid here. Kool-Aid has the potential to be a big name, all-pro corner. He's sticky, he's tough, and he can take away the number one wide receiver to help ideally compete with Detroit in that division.
Alrighty, at pick number 24, we got the Cowboys taking offensive guard Troy Fasciano. Is that his name? Tony Fasciano? Fasciano. Whatever. Katie, tell me about Fasciano real quick. I don't know. I thought it was Troy, but it's some other. I can't read the name. So I think Katie's still experiencing some technical issues every once in a while. So, yeah, the Cowboys do need offensive line help to keep Dak Prescott healthy. And with their running game being a little bit in shambles, that would always come in handy for whoever's going to be running the ball in the backfield. At pick number 25, we've got safety Tyler Nubin. Safety Tyler Nubin going to the Green Bay Packers. Again, I think it's a position in need. Getting down to 26, if you can get the guys you need, I think it bodes well for your team. We got pick number 27 or 26. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select TJ Tampa, cornerback. Eric, give me your thoughts on Mr. Tampa.
TJ Tampa is a good zone corner. He fits kind of what their defense is. They've always been a zone defense, a Tampa 2 defense, hence the word Tampa. TJ Tampa sells a lot of jerseys, makes a lot of plays, has a good rookie year in Tampa Bay.
Pick number 28, and if this actually happened, I would be head over heels, but I believe the Bills are going to have to trade up to make this happen. But at 28, we had Brian Thomas going to the Buffalo Bills, and I would be thrilled to death if that happened without him having to make a trade. But we will see what happens. We've got pick number 29. Who's 29? Oh, Sanistril. This was a bone of contention, Eric. Give me your thoughts on Mr. Sanistril.
So Katie likes him, and I'm going to speak in Katie voice. He's a really tight corner. He's going to play really tough defense, can play inside and outside. I think he's a slot corner, and I think slot corner is high for the first round. He is a Mike Hilton type. He's tough. He's going to make plays. We have him going to the Lions.
Who, TJ? Or Sanistril, yes. He's going to the Lions.
Yeah, we have him going to the Lions. So he'll be tough, and he'll fit that system well.
All right, pick number 30. Baltimore Ravens going back to another wide receiver, man, and they need the help. Adonde Mitchell. I love this pick. I think if Adonde Mitchell and Zay Flowers, 1 and 2 in that offense, I think it's going to be great fit. I think it'll give Lamar Jackson some great weapons to utilize. So that's a great pick. Pick number 31 in San Francisco. I'm sorry, I screwed up. We have TJ Tampa going to San Francisco at pick number 31. I made a mistake. I'm sorry about that. Tell me about Tampa and Frisco.
So TJ Tampa, everything I said about him, he's a zone coverage. He's going to sell a lot of jerseys. He's going to be a good zone. He's the best zone coverage corner in there. He'll fit well. Don't forget about Baltimore and Adonde Mitchell. He'll make Katie really happy. Sorry, Katie wasn't having technical difficulties, but Adonde Mitchell will be making big plays with Lamar Jackson and helping to diversify that offense as they continue to grow in that offense. So exciting pick for both Baltimore and both San Francisco.
And before we get to the last pick, I do want to remind you all again, download your mock draft, get it into us. The winner will get a From the Couch Sports Talk Radio t-shirt. You can email your downloaded mock draft to ftcsports1@gmail.com. Get them in. Draft is in 2 weeks. Last pick, we have Kansas City. Definitely now they're going to be needing wide receiver, and we have them taking wide receiver Ladd McConkey. I like this fit. I like Ladd McConkey. I know we kind of went back and forth on the type of receiver that Kansas City would be looking for, but I believe we settled on Mr. McConkey. I think that's going to be a great pick for them. And, again, it's just going to be a huge need. So, alrighty, Sean, let's kick it back to you, my friend. We'll get back to our other rounds in the draft next week. So go ahead, Sean, take it away.
All right. Well, that's this week's program. We hope to see you back again next week. Please like, share, and subscribe for all our content and help us get our name out there. We are about to go into our overtime period where we could be discussing your comments. We're going to kind of go over the draft, and I'm going to tell these guys why they're high. But from the couch, on behalf of me, David, Katie, Eric, Jonathan, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week from the couch. All right. Goodbye.